Greetings gamers! The clue scroll solving meta has changed significantly over the last 1 year of RuneScape due to players discovering new metas and Jagex implementing game-changing clue-specific updates. Now, the purpose of this video is going to be to show every single clue meta that's been discovered, and these metas have been discovered in the last 6 months and have been kept on the down low, but I feel like it's time to expose these methods and show it to the entire community, because I feel like these methods are really fun to do and make clue solving extremely satisfying. Now you can see here on the screen timestamps of all the specific sections of this video. So if you would like to see specific sections, you can feel free to click around. And also if you're returning to this video in the future to revisit some of these references, feel free to skip ahead. And I'll also have a pinned comment for any specific changes that have shifted the metas over the last years as we move forward when this video is recorded and released. Also, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe if this video was really helpful. I put a lot of time making this video and also a lot of consulting with other members of the Collection Log community. If you'd like to join the new Collection Log clan called Log Chasers, make sure you join. You can join the Discord, I'll put a link in the description. A lot of gamers in here as well. And yeah, enjoy the video. Peace out, take care. The first clue meta is actually called Clue Juggling meta, and it's really widely known. On March 6, 2024, out of the blue, Jagex implemented a new quality of life update where clue scrolls will now last 60 minutes on the floor. This was a vast increase compared to the previous 3 minutes, which didn't really allow for much juggling and text. This may seem pointless to some, but in reality it was essentially stackable clues with extra steps, where players can, during Slayer tasks, skilling activities, PVMing, even raiding, juggle the clues in between kills on the floor to be able to solve them at a later time. In theory, this doesn't really provide a time save, but in practice, the time save is significant due to the speed of being able to solve clues, and also having to re-gear for each clue individually as you PVM. To optimally utilize this meta, I would recommend stacking clues on the floor between activities. Imagine finishing your Slayer task, and then bringing them all over to the nearest bank and solving them all together, one at a time. You may also use the Clue Juggling Timer plugin on RuneLite. I'd recommend setting the notifications to around 600 seconds for 10 minutes, and using the drop timer multiplier to 96 or 97%. You can also type _ clear clues to be able to reset this plugin if it bugs, which usually happens after long breaks or swapping between mobile and PC. So the next meta is called the Clue ID meta, and it's a meta that was discovered quite recently and can be credited to a few individuals in the Collection Log Discord. So Wiki and Camping Online were the first ones to actually publicly expose this method, and this method was further developed and improved and optimized by the Collection Log community thanks to Delope and Marnie. So a link to the Collection Log Discord will be put in the description if you'd like to join, and all the resources with this meta is properly documented by Delope in that Discord. Essentially, all clue scrolls except for beginners and masters have a unique clue ID, which means using the custom item tags plugin, you can add specific text to any clue scroll and can customize the text to whatever you see fit. Now obviously you don't need to do this yourself, work has already been done by the individuals I mentioned above, but for example, this clue scroll says subscribe to LGR. Now obviously I would recommend putting something that's more useful than that, that's just a joke, but there is more efficient but also more sweaty ways that you can identify to be able to solve the clues without even opening the clue scroll. Now you might think this is such a small time save, but if you're saving 1 to 2 ticks per clue step, over thousands of clues, that time adds up significantly, and it can speed up your solving quite a bit over the long term. Now Delope wrote a very detailed guide on how to set up the plugin and what to put everywhere, so I would not really feel like I should copy paste that here because I feel like the Collection Log community already did that work. So I'm going to refer to you to them, make sure you copy it and use it to your advantage. So the Wildy Kermit meta is actually something that was, I wouldn't say recently discovered, but it's been used in the past, but it's been significantly optimized and popularized recently. Now this meta removes all the risk from going into the wilderness and also makes the clue box item completely irrelevant and speeds up solving clues. So essentially players will bring a bare minimum amount of gear, plus their clue scroll and a spade to the wilderness to solve a clue step, then drop the spade and everything that's not relevant, and suicide using the enchanted symbol from the Mage Arena 2 subquest. You can acquire a new ancient symbol by speaking to this NPC at the Mage Arena 2 bank. Likewise, if you kill 2 out of the 3 of the bosses from the Mage Arena 2 subquest, the device will automatically damage you upon a left click instead of having to select the interface as seen here. Not all steps are worth using this metaphor. Steps under 30-minute to other wilderness can be done normally. You just have to make sure you're not risking too much in your gear setup. And also, any step above 30 wilderness should be done with this meta because you can instantly come back to a bank upon spawning in Edgeville or Loverange. I will not list the steps that are efficient to drop or deficient to suicide for. However, the Clue ID plugin will sometimes have DEA for death to tell you that this is worthy to drop and suicide. However, that is up to you to decide. Now, this is my tab for hard clues for suicide meta. Essentially, I bring the blowpipe, the max cape for DPS, a spade, and a 1-dose range potion. You could do a divine pot if you're really rich in a main. And also, for example, as required, a revenant teleport, a glory to get to Edgeville, or for example, the Wildy sword, maybe runes to get to Dead Plateau, wilderness crab teleport, and so on. You can purchase Wildy swords from Perdu. You can also buy spades from the G if you're a main, or you can also buy them from the Leprechaun and Catherby and trade them to be noted from the Leprechaun as seen here. Now, fun fact for me, I actually have over 1,000 spades and I collected them each passively one at a time for my chambers, which I know is very weird, but I guess now it paid off. So the next method is called the Hard Clue Yuri Skip, which was a method that was discovered by Wiki. Now, the line between a bug and a mechanic is quite vague in RuneScape. As such, I think this meta and the next two fit in a very gray zone. It is plausible that this meta gets fixed in the future if Jagex ever decides to revamp and standardize clue scrolls one day. However, this method is only really possible thanks to the 60-minute clue juggle timer. Essentially, when you get an emote clue step from a hard clue, you must kill Yuri, aka the double agent, and players like Wiki realize that you can sometimes skip the fight, and it gives you the next clue without having to fight the double agent. Now, this only works for hard clues, by the way. It does not work for masters, nor is it possible to work on elites because there's no Yuri fight. And without going into too much detail, essentially, you can skip the hard clue double agent fight using any other clue step if you have a hard clue emote step and complete a different step that is not an emote step. Now, the best way to do this, in my opinion, is to essentially only, whenever you receive an emote step, to drop it in a separate pile. So you can see here, I have a bunch of piles here. So I would drop my Yuri step in this specific pile. And as soon as I complete a clue scroll, I would grab a fresh clue scroll from the Yuri pile and start with that one. And that way I ensure that it skips the Yuri emote step. So the next method here is called the Sherlock Elite Clue Skipping. Now, this method was actually discovered by Wiki. Once again, he's essentially the Wooks of clue scrolls. And this is actually one of my favorite metas that's been discovered in the last year. So similar to the master clue manipulation that I will touch on later, if you get a Sherlock step from an elite clue, you can skip it by using any other Sherlock step from the floor. Now, you can keep a good Sherlock step in the bank. So for example, like this one, the Activate Chivalry Prayer is one of the best Sherlock steps you can have. And whenever you get a Sherlock step, you drop that one on the floor, pick up the good one, and then solve it. Now, this requires a few things, and actually, first of all, you can see the example here of how to do it. But the only downside of using this method is if you're ever doing any piece of PVM content, well, you have to bring your challenge scroll with you and keep it on the floor and juggle it permanently until you finish whatever activity you're doing. Now, I don't necessarily think this is always efficient to do. It is definitely efficient on paper, but there are some exceptions. Like if you end up losing an elite clue roll, then it's obviously a big time loss. And it doesn't work for master clues, by the way, because like I mentioned earlier, master clues do not have unique IDs. And so a very simple method. There's not much more to say about this one. And yeah. So this next method, I've already made a video on it, so I just decided to recycle the video itself, so enjoy. Now, the way that this works is, you see I have two clues on the floor. Now, one clue is a cryptic step, and it's a really bad one. You can see there's a Dragon Eye one. But this one here, however, is a very good and easy cryptic step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the bad one on the floor, pick up the good one, and quickly complete it. So I'll be back when I complete this clue step. So now that the clue step is finished and I have all three, I do not combine. Instead, I drop the good clue on the floor, I pick up the bad one with the shitty steps, and then I combine the three pieces, and that actually completes it. So one thing that I did is I created a sheet with every single cryptic step. That was a total of 30 of them. And I also timed myself solving each one. Now, of course, I'm not always perfectly efficient, so I might be wrong on some things, but this is essentially what the average completion time for each cryptic step is, and you can see they're sorted numerically from the fastest to the slowest one. Now, the reason why this is important is because you want to have 3 cryptic steps that are very fast to complete, and currently the fastest possible cryptic step would be 39 seconds to complete, being the first 3. However, that doesn't factor in having steps that overlap. So for example, having a step on the Library of Arceus and then on the top floor and the bottom floor, those can be solved together, being much faster. And that has to be factored in, but I did not factor that in because it wasn't worth it. And yeah, essentially what you want to do is you want to try to find a cryptic step that is as fast as possible, and you can always swap them around if you get a better one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This took a lot of time to make, and I just wanted to thank Wiki for helping me with this video. He did help out with proofreading a lot of what I wrote and my guide. And all the references will be in the description. The new Log Chasers Discord is going to be in the description. You can have clue discussions there. Also, the collection log Discord is going to be in the description. The sheet for the master clue setup will be in the description. And feel free to reference that if you'd like. Also, if this video hits 10,000 views, I will make a detailed video on how exactly to grind each specific clue step from beginner all the way up to easy to master. And the best way to do so as a main and as an iron, I think that would be a very good resource, albeit that might be changing eventually as new metas come in. So peace out. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Take care.